that'd be useful for us. So, Ida, I'll share with you the response from showing this at a refugee camp in Berlin. Um, those people who had just walked, some of them for 8 weeks from the Middle East, um, recognized that this film was about getting over fear. And these people had just done something superhuman and had arrived and saved their lives by doing such. And yet they recognized that this film still inspired them to think about how they got over fear and how they can continue to get over fear, because of course they just arrived in Berlin and then had a lot more work to do after that. That was only the beginning, so they had to continue. And it was my intention to offer an immersive, a simple, short, immersive. Oh, there's Jack. There's great. That's Jack. Um, Offer a simple, short German immersion for new Berliners, as I referred to them, so that they could um, experience the language and culture a little bit gradually. And this is how I hope to use it with um, situations like this as a language learning tool for um, new arrivals, asylum seekers, etc. And so I didn't expect that reaction, and I was quite pleased that there was that reaction. And incidentally, we had the film's dialogue translated into Farsi and Arabic, and so they were able to read the dialogue on pages. And to answer one of your questions, if the guide at a location or a viewer um, had difficulty with reading the subtitles, we would do a simultaneous translation. And if there was no one at their place to do that, in, for instance, in your rooms to do that for you, I would do that. And I have done it over the years. And I've learned from the Berlin Film Festival's specialists how they do it. And so I would do that simultaneous translation in English. But right now we're aiming at audiences who are readers and older. And also, when we do have the audiences, at this hour, generally, we have a younger audience. Um, we program things that have simple subtitles or no subtitles at all, and are focusing, as I mentioned in my text, focusing on the different aesthetics, so that a new viewer is seeing different things, different design, different color, different rhythm, sound, and that is as rich an initial layer as subtitles would be later on. Subtitles add to that. Um, let's see, I'll continue with my learning goals. Uh, what about a couple of words in the German language might you remember?
Well, go ahead, please.
Go ahead, Dom. What do you remember? Are there a couple of words?
No, no, no. I haven't picked it up yet. I mean, like for me, it's already two different languages, right? Not my native one, so it was hard to catch up even on the subtitles running fast, and then like listen up what they have to say in German as well.
Ah, okay. How did that make you feel? Were you rushing? Did you feel rushed?
Well, since it's aimed for kids, right? As I understood, children's festival, right? Yeah, I was concerned about the pacing of the subtitles
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
some of the, yeah. I don't know, like I don't know the I don't know like uh the scientific approach for this, like what's the right pacing or what are the capacities of children, right? But it seemed like it's a bit rushed, and some of them could run up into some kind of issues, I believe, just to catch the main point of the movie or whatnot, just to read the text. So yeah, like definitely no German, but yeah.
Sure, sure. And we all have different paces of reading. And it might be this is say for 8 and up, there might be some who are already good with reading, and some who are not. So the range might be for this one 10 years old. Hilda.
All right.
Anyone else learn new German words? How Temperatur? Did you hear that word? Temperatur? What do you guess that word might be?
Well, temperature
There you
is the
are.
obvious,
There you
right?
are. Yeah, yeah. Um, if I hadn't been rushed this morning, pardon me, I might have given you a little more coaching on watching subtitles if this was indeed your first time watching subtitles, is to not worry about the pace, relax, and watch the pictures. And focus on the pictures. And if you can take in some of the words as well, relax doing that. That's what that's important for first-time subtitle watchers. Um, was there something similar in your life, Ida? You recognize something similar in your life. What about something tremendously different? For me, training like that at such a young age is really different. I swam, but I didn't do such rigorous training as a diver. That's for sure.
I think maybe a discipline, the discipline they all showed, uh, is very, very different.
Yeah. Was there something of something in your childhood that you were very disciplined about?
Handing in my assignments, I was very disciplined about.
School is discipline enough, and then to do this outside, that's quite a lot of discipline, isn't it? Mm.
Yeah, but it was way more about having fun, the kind of swimming I went to, than the discipline. So it was more about learning to be comfortable in the water.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I think that we could have an entire 6-hour conversation about children and discipline, and uh, and that could be potentially, depending on the age of the viewers, if this were a group of parents, for instance, they would probably have a conversation about discipline and children, and we would love to see that, especially amongst international parents. And that's also something that we hope with Screen 360 TV is not only the young viewers learning, but parents also learning from various parenting styles that they see in the film, and responses to children in the film, responses to events seen in the film. And that's also a wonderful thing, unfortunately, about the pandemic now, is that we're home with our families, and it offers an opportunity for family co-viewing. And I think that's ultimately a very good thing. Can you tell me the country of origin? Easy question. Of the film.
Germany.
Yeah, there we are. There we are. So those are, oh, and tell me something about the scene. Describe the scene. Couple of expressions about the scene.
Cold.
Maybe
Mm,
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable. Yeah. What about camera angles? How did the camera help you experience what the diver was experiencing?
Well, the close-ups show the technique and then the attention to details, I
Mm,
believe.
mm. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. And Ida, the close-up of the girl, you responded to that. Close-up of the girl feeling fear. of the height.
Yeah, and like
Right.
the way it paralyzes you, like it was so relatable for me at least. And like seeing that, and she didn't even say anything. I thought that was also so amazing. She didn't even say anything, but you were like, you could still feel what she was feeling or understand how she was feeling.
Sure, sure. That simple, what, maybe 6 seconds on this girl's face, and watching her in that scene. Sure, sure. Good. Um, well, I would go on to the next film after this, but I think you want to ask more questions, and I welcome them. The ones that you sent, um, actually, yeah, as I said, I haven't really gotten a chance to look over them again, but you can go ahead and ask me.
Yeah. You said you translate when the subtitle is in English and the audience is not able to understand English. How exactly do you do that?
So, for instance, I would have a transcript of the English dialogue, and as the subtitles were initially on screen, I would pause for a moment and then interject after the dialogue has ended. It takes some practice, and I've learned that you shouldn't do it as if you're just reading the subtitles, but you have to have your timing correctly. And
Okay. So
go
you
ahead.
mean you pause the video and then spell it? No.
No, for instance, I can bring up.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. Okay, where did we go? All right. All right. Is everyone seeing that?
Yep.
Okay.
Dann Spaß gehabt, vom Brett zu springen.
And we had fun to dive
Und
from the springboard.
ich habe es immer so mit der Gefährlichkeit gehabt.
I've always been attracted to danger. Would you like a little bit more?
I believe we got the gist of it.
Okay. In countries, well, when I was visiting Poland, I saw films on television treated in the same way. So it's the international standard for non-synchronized films. Yeah. And of course, this is a prototype. We are working on a design for both software, tablet, and web interface with a designer, and raising funds to have our own, and that's secure, which is very important, as it is now using Zoom. It's most secure when somebody knocks on the door, and I allow them in, and they have registered with us. So I am expecting a name generally, but right now it's quite open. So I am the security at the moment.
As I understood, that's the two main devices that you are aiming for, right? The desktop, web application, right? And then the tablets.
That's right.
All right. No smartphones, no solutions for TV or something like that.
Oh, for smart TVs, yes, but I think phones, I wouldn't. We're not against them. It's just a matter of cost. The tablets have a higher quality of viewing and interactivity, and teachers can use them more readily.
All right.
And I would presume it's very important for you to have these discussions or talks through video chat
Yes.
rather
Yes.
than just a text chat.
Rather than text chat, of course, that is an option. And those who don't want to be seen. In the future, I'd love to be able to offer an avatar. And when we tested in hospitals, that was a solution that we were going to use because of HIPAA in the United States. We have privacy regulations that are very strict in hospitals, especially for young people. And I know in Germany and probably other parts of Europe, there are strict regulations for children and screens. And so we have COPPA and FERPA and all of those filters that we have to abide by.
Okay, so then you want to give the option wherein the audience can come on video as well as not come on video.
Yes, yes. So we would keep the chat open. Yeah.
I was considering if you have any forums for like people to continue talking after the movie. Like if you meet someone you want to continue talking with.
Yeah, nice idea. And we want to make those available, and we have done this already for one group in Germany. Offered them an exercise. So I sent them a Rube Goldberg challenge. And I don't know if you know what this is, but it's consecutive actions. And it's a mechanical engineering challenge. So you set up items and one thing knocks into the other one, knocks into the other one, and it's a continuous action. And the group made one of these themselves, made the video, and then presented it to me the next time I saw them. So yes, this is something that we hope will happen, and we'll make those introductions. We'll create a way that not only you can continue connecting, but you can also make recommendations to a new group and invite the new group in. We think you might like this film. Take a look at our reactions. So at the end of a conversation with your group, or it's going to be solo, you can make a recording of yourself saying, this is what I learned, this is what I liked, this is what I didn't like, and following the learning goal prompts and respond that way. And this is what would be archived. And so I would imagine on the archive it would say, Ida from Denmark says this about this film. And so those looking for recommendations would look to your video.
That is great. That is also what like we have asked some of our families and friends and kids, and recommendations is a big part, especially from friends. So I think that's amazing. You already got that.
Yeah, no, really, really important. And especially, I think we should also have some sort of reward if the person is from far away, or the further, the more reward somehow, or whether you didn't know that person and you really summoned the courage to meet someone new. We hope to have an atlas with members marked on the atlas, and you can, there's a pull down, and there might be, maybe there's a picture or an avatar, and it says, I'm 14 years old and I really like this film. Maybe you'll like this. So maybe there's a little profile of the viewer. We're quickly thinking about individuals as opposed to classrooms. Originally, Screen 360 TV was designed for classrooms and classrooms talking to each other. But going to individuals in each room is special. It's different, and so we're having to think quickly about that.
Okay, thank you. Very interesting. The change from classrooms to individuals.
Yeah, yeah. More difficult, but it's also, we're finding that the individual households are not only households where teachers might be presenting from, but that also households where families are. So we are limiting our two memberships to households, because there's learning happening in the household, there's teaching happening in the household, and it's helping me think about it like that. Um, and also the second membership is the filmmaker membership, so that filmmakers can present their new works and learn from international audiences that they've never had contact with before.
Mm-hmm.
And will this be something you pay for, the membership?
Yes. Where's Jack? I know Jack is on, but we're looking at a monthly fee of $4.99. Really accessible, I think, and you know, we would develop a branch, of course, for those, maybe a way of uh, buy a membership for a friend, or something like this, along with the recommendation. Here's a month-long recommendation, or a month-long membership and a recommendation. Join us for this film. So this is the recommendations, we hope, bring in a lot of participants.
Yeah, you mentioned you're trying to go for a new software. So what difficulty did you find using Zoom?
Good question. Well, it's not secure enough. It's not our own platform. But it still remains the better, especially because of the artifacts that we're left with. The video documentation is better than, say, and more usable than Whereby. And Whereby has been very useful up until now, and we can have more participants through Zoom than with Whereby. But this morning you saw a problem with Zoom. I couldn't log on. I had to completely restart the computer, and I had some other processes going on, so I couldn't restart immediately. And so that was surprising. And ultimately, we could probably get a more secure if we were using a paid subscription, a higher paid subscription. And then we could get breakout rooms, which we hope to use for the Q&A afterwards. At that point, we could break out participants into groups of 3 or 4, and they could talk about their learning goals. What words did they learn? What did they like and not like about the film, for instance? What do you think about that?
Yeah, because there are softwares like WebEx, Skype, GoToMeeting, even Facebook Live or YouTube Live. Have you considered those, or when making your decision to go for a new software?
We have used WebEx in the past. Facebook Live, I've seen some colleagues from another film festival in Greece use, and it seemed very successful. But they couldn't have the Q&A afterwards. Maybe we could on Facebook Live. There are I experimented one day quite frustratedly with one of these, something called eCam that pulls them all together, where you can present live and it outputs to Facebook, to Twitter, to does them all, but there's quite a steep learning curve, and I think I needed support to do that. So I abandoned that. So there's something that like that I would still consider. Um, what are you thinking, Sushant? That there's
Yeah,
there's enough usable software out there that there is.
yeah, there are different softwares, but yeah, the challenge which we would probably see is like in terms of the number of audience users that can connect to the system,
Yeah.
as well as whether you are in a position to have an interactive video chat, before and after the movie screening. So those are two areas which we'll have to see if any of these softwares can offer better compared to Zoom. So that will be probably one thing we would like to analyze. So that's the reason we asked you, if you had already considered, then we wouldn't want to go on that direction.
Yeah, we did. I mean, certainly when I was in graduate school and we began working on this platform, we tried several. The one that we ultimately used was called VView TV, and that became Polycom. They sold the technology to Polycom, and I've several times approached Polycom, but no response to be a sponsor or something like this. So this is still an aspiration that one of these big companies takes us as their philanthropic, their philanthropy. But, yeah.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Jack Rasmussen. I've been with Katie for a couple months now as the business lead for Screen 360. And we're using Zoom because it is the most accessible, I think, software right now. And it's the most popular, so most people have it. And so we're able to access students all over the world. So that's kind of our MVP prototype right now. And our goal is eventually we have a matching fund, and we just set up a GoFundMe we've done a huge marketing campaign interviewing teachers, students, filmmakers, getting their perspective on Screen 360 and how it'll help change the whole educational industry. And so we put that video up, that marketing video trailer up on our GoFundMe page. That'll be up soon. And we want to eventually fundraise enough money so we can create a mobile application on the App Store for iOS users to download to easily access these films on their tablets, on their phones. And right now, it would be paired with a website so teachers can easily access it on their Mac. And in the fall, we are planning to pilot with a few high schools in California. So what our issue is right now is we need to get fundraising in order to build this mobile application. But as of now, we are using Zoom, like Katie said. And the goal is to have this app where there are two memberships, and the households pay and the filmmakers pay. And the filmmakers see these, if you're familiar with AP themes and IB themes, which are what high schoolers take, these courses that they take. We are basically tailoring these films to support their AP theme curriculum and their AP classes curriculum. And so teachers, filmmakers submit their films, and we look at them and choose, okay, which ones best fit the curriculum for the Spanish class, for the French class, for the Italian class, for the art class, for the history class, because those all are in AP classes. And so we put those, our vision is we put those in, and we have specific international films for every course. And then the teachers can choose, okay, I'm gonna show this in my classroom this week. And and it'll have a packet of curriculum, kind of like how we're doing now, where these questions and prompts come with each film to facilitate discussion. And we eventually want to connect these students with international students abroad. So if you're Spanish, if you're in a Spanish class in California, we want to connect you with students in Spain or in Mexico who actually speak the language, so they can interact one-on-one through Zoom. But that's the goal. That is the goal eventually for Screen 360.
Thank you, Jack. And with that, I'd like to introduce Dee Dee Pierce, who is our career educator and AP teacher, teacher of the year, in fact, in 2006. And she is guiding us through the curriculum and looking for films. We also have a high school intern this for a few weeks, and she is also looking for films from her perspective. And I very much believe in engaging young people as participants in research, and that will be the goal ultimately. Should we ever have an online central studio show, films will be introduced by a young researcher, a young host, as well as myself, another host. And that's for the future, so that there's adult and student participation, representation.
Can I ask, is the goal to be a non-profit, or is the goal to make money, so to say?
To make money.
Okay.
We are incorporated. Originally, Screen 360 TV, when I was driving it on my own, was a non-profit project. So it's fiscally sponsored by a group called CineFem in Los Angeles. So yes, but now we are incorporated, and we have equity, and I guess it's a valuation of $2 million.
Okay, thank you.
Now, where are you all sitting, may I ask? In Denmark? Where else? I'm guessing.
I'm in Denmark, in Aarhus, which is where the course would have been held if it hadn't been online.
Yes, the wonderful Olafur Eliasson sculpture on the museum, right? And Dominicus, where are you?
Also in Aarhus, just recently came over from my vacation, but yeah, back to business here. Even though there's not much happening, but yes.
Sushant, where are you?
I'm in Copenhagen.
Aha. Right, there's Copenhagen Design School is there. Also, there's a lot going on. Design, that's great. Good. Who else? Any further questions? Collaborations? We have a collaboration with, let me see here. Kids on Earth. This is a gentleman who produced a very popular television show in the United States called Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? And now his name is Bloomberg. And he is continuing. He's really dedicated to introducing children in the world to each other. And so he's traveling the world and taking short videos with short video interviews with young people about the world. And I recommend it. We show these 3-minute clips when there is an audience. Let's see if I could bring one up very quickly and show you that. And these are actual, let's see here. So there he is. Oh, these are new actually, Kids on Earth. I'll just share my screen there. Can you see that?
I can't see, but maybe.
No, okay, let me see here. Maybe new share.
Now we do.
Now you do? Okay, good. Okay, this is the producer, Howard. And for instance, this is this looks like it's going to be.
So Tricia wants to be a NASA scientist. NASA is the United States Space Organization. There's a similar organization called ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization in India, but she chose NASA. We had a great conversation because we started talking about traveling to different worlds. But when you find out the reason why she wants to travel to those different worlds, it becomes a whole nother thing. You're going to see two different segments. One of them begins.
Sorry. He usually doesn't introduce his segments. Here we are.
In the United States, people tend to think about states as sort of our own invention, but many other countries have states too. Mexico's full name, which I'll do my best to pronounce, is Estados Unidos de Mexico, the United States of Mexico. Other nations, such as Canada, have provinces, which are similar. England doesn't have states or provinces. They have counties, all the same idea, local governments. Some of the names of India's states may be familiar to you. Rajasthan, Assam, which is famous for tea, West Bengal, Punjab, Goa, which is a really popular resort. Kashmir is not a state, but it's part of a union territory, along with Jammu. So there are some states and some territories. In all, there are 28 states in India, and there are 8 union territories.
There we are.
Okay, so my name is Sasha, and my story behind my name is that when I was born, so like there was so many names which my parents could have kept for me, but they chose Sasha because it's the first name of the Hindu goddess Durga, and also like a worshipping name and the person who's really kind. So it's not like I'm very unique, I'm a normal person myself. So we are in Gurgaon right now. It's in Haryana, it's in North India, so like more towards Rajasthan area. It's like more towards Rajasthan than Haryana, so it's on the coast kind of.
What is Rajasthan? What is Haryana?
Haryana is a state, and even Rajasthan is a state of India. Rajasthan mainly has deserts and all, and Haryana is like it was found really in the time 800 BCE. Even Rajasthan was found at that point of time only. So there is like Delhi, which is like the Indian capital. So that's basically about it. Yeah, so there are 29 states in India and 7 union territories, but now there are 28 states and 9 union territories according to the Article 15, which like says that Jammu and Kashmir will be a union territory from now, from 30th December. Union territory is basically like it is a part of our country, but it's like open for everyone. No one can capture it or like they cannot capture it or can do anything about it. So it's like a state in itself, but for the whole place.
So there's an example of Kids on Earth, and Howard just keeps making those, keeps traveling around the world and making those great videos, and so we present them along with our programming. And yeah, he's a great partner as well as a mentor, and happy to work with him. Yeah, and I also show work from Michael DiTullo, who has he gives drawing lessons, 15 to 20 minutes drawing lessons. So I include those as well, and he offers really smart insight on how to use your hands. So we mix it up on Screen 360 TV, and built this program immediately after the shelter-in-place orders were put down at the end of March in the U.S. And we've had these 9 o'clock, 10:30, and 5:30 programs. Originally there was a 3:30 program, but now we leave that 3:30 time open for custom classes. So if anyone can contact me and build a custom class. Yeah. Any other questions? For Jack and Dee Dee too.
Jack mentioned that you did some kind of a field research, as I understood already, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would there be a possibility to share some of the key findings, maybe not the whole data, but just key findings that we could pick up on or challenge them as well?
Oh, sure. Actually, we were putting a video up on screen, or
The GoFundMe, right?
on the GoFundMe. Yeah, today. We should put that up.
I mean, like the time for us is quite limited, so
yeah,
if
we
it's
could
possible to get something today or by tomorrow, that would be lovely. But otherwise, yeah, I'm not rushing into things.
Sure. You could also have access to the playlist of our interviews, and we're happy to give you the link that you keep for yourselves, and you could, yeah, certainly.
Maybe we can find something useful in there as well. So then,
yeah,
that would be.
Well, so we'll give you the link to our trailer, and also they're open now. If you go to YouTube, Katie Kavanaugh, look for H4R playlist.
All right.
But I can write you that.
I have a question for the group.
Yeah.
For the students. Your questions that came in were really, really, really good, made us think, obviously, problem solve what we're trying to do here. But my question to you is, what do you see right now as you're looking at this project as the challenges that 360 TV is facing?
That's a nice question, Dee Dee, thanks.
I would say just the social aspect of it. Seems like you have the content ready, right? Like the different sources of it, and you already see what works and then what doesn't. But the thing is, yeah, just getting the social aspect of it, like at least the audiences, and then what to do with them afterwards or after the movie and whatnot. So that's at least how I see this challenge. I mean, like you can stream this movie or whatnot throughout everywhere, like YouTube, Facebook Live and whatnot. But what happens afterward, or at least what's the takeaways after this experience, right? So it's either meeting somebody or learn new words or something like this. So that's where the biggest challenges is, and how to actually solve it. I mean, like just how to introduce this social aspect to screenings. But yeah, like that's the thing top of my mind right now.
Do you see, do you think make connections, after the screening, et cetera, making friends or talking to others, around the world, do you see that as a good thing? Is it something that young people want, to pursue? Or do you see this as a, kind of, we're in class, a high school class, let's say, we're watching this film, we're having this Q&A, it's related to the subject that we're learning, etc. So it gives us a little bit more insight, and then it's over and that's it? Or do you think that, the social aspect is a key draw, let's say, that would be an attraction, or not?
Yeah, because I wouldn't see like just consuming some kind of content, but actually that you can take away something from it afterwards. So I mean, like, it's hard for me to step in on those children's shoes and actually figure out what they would like to, right? But just with the Catherine, like, she asked me if I learn new words and whatnot. I mean, like, I already see some benefits in that, and I would like to see my kids actually doing something like this, not just mindlessly consuming the content, but like taking it away something afterwards. And if there is like a platform or somebody that actually accommodates them with this, that would be perfect.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
I also see the discussion as a very key part of it. I think it's a really, really great idea. And I see a lot of value in it. A lot of also like critical thinking, like think about what you just saw and how different people experience it. I think that, a lot of great things in it, but I guess that's also why you do it.
Right.
And observing in the Q&A just a few, earlier on with you guys, that was really very rich. It was very powerful, seriously. When you could, because I think what I observed was that you started connecting to your past, and then you started connecting with each other because you could relate to these experiences, which gives you a deeper discussion. And, so therefore there's deeper learning that's taking place at the same time, and yet you're making connections. Someone in another part of the world, who is experiencing the same as you. So I think there's a lot of power in breaking down barriers between cultures and saying, hey, they're like me, so they're not so different, that kind of a thing. So I think, which is one of our primary goals, is to kind of break down these, these international borders, if you will, via the internet, and having these discussions. And I don't know, I think, like in the US, we're primarily dealing with, let's say 13-year-olds to 18-year-olds, right? And, they're high school students. And so therefore, there are some parameters around that, around the age, with parents and guidelines and subject matter, and, what we can do and talk about and how deep we can go with some of these topics. But I think if we're careful, right, and we curate carefully and curate the discussion properly, I think there's a lot of growth that can come from this experience. Okay, thank
Nice
you.
to hear, Didi. Yeah. We like to say there's empathy 5 ways that happen when you're watching a film on Screen 360 TV. You first have empathy for the protagonist, the characters in the film. You have empathy for the people you are watching with. You have empathy for the person you want to recommend it to. You have empathy with the filmmaker. If the filmmaker, we talk about the filmmaker, and I might tell you something about the filmmaker. I told you where he studied, for instance. So, and so when you talk with your audience, of course, there's empathy exchanged afterwards. So, that's the way we like to look at it. Also, 2 weeks afterwards, we send a survey out. And it's basically just a survey asking, what do you remember about the film that you saw? And so it recalls the memory and fixes it a little bit more. And so in our pursuit to, and in our research, looking at the impact of international film on childhood memory, when a memory is recalled, it fixes it more in memory. And if that memory was indeed a powerful memory, it was vivid, then it can continue to connect to like memories. And that is where the instinct starts to form. And we hope the instinct is an instinct of comfort with foreign things, with foreign people, foreign places. And that's the impact of international film on childhood autobiographical memory.
Well, that's a really interesting takes, or at least the things you're looking into. And yeah, like I'm really curious how that's gonna turn out, but best of luck with this.
Well, keep watching and keep
Oh
talking
yeah.
about it and tell people.
Yes.
I would love for you all to join us on the 17th of September. Is that possible?
I guess
Well,
so.
think about it. Think about it. Yeah, well, we'll keep you in mind and inform you
Just keep
about
us
that.
in the loop, I guess, for these kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, you have my email and I can send it on to the other guys, of
Yeah,
course.
please.
Mm.
Super.
But we have a deadline like on Friday.
Yes.
So we won't have long for this project, so don't get your expectations up, but we will do our best.
No, the
And
feedback is welcome.
definitely keep an eye on what's happening after this course, because it's a really, really interesting project you have.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. And it would not have come this far had Jack and Dee Dee not joined. That's for sure.
Great meeting all of you. I dropped my email in the chat if you want to contact me.
Thank you,
Yeah,
guys.
that's great. Thank you. And I will send you the link to the trailer and the link to the playlist. But there's lots of hours on the playlist, so don't get lost in there. Start with the trailer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll send you the recording as well.
Alrighty.
Okay. Take care, you all. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.